NATO will not let Russia dictate its military posture, Germany says.
Here's a summary of the article.
Register now for free unlimited access to Reuters. Rukla, Lithuania, December 19. NATO will discuss Russia's security proposals, but it will not let Moscow dictate the alliance's military posture, German Defense Minister Christine Lambrecht said on Sunday on a visit to German troops based in Lithuania to deter a Russian attack. On Friday, Moscow set out a list of demands for the West that includes withdrawing NATO battalions from Poland and Estonia, Latvia and Lithuania, once part of the Soviet Union. Russia is also demanding a legally binding guarantee that NATO will give up any military activity in Eastern Europe and Ukraine and an effective Russian veto on future NATO membership for Ukraine, which the West has already ruled out. Register now for free unlimited access to Reuters.com. We need to solve the current tensions on the diplomatic level, but just as well by putting up a credible deterrence, Lambrecht told reporters in Rukla on her first visit to German troops abroad. The combat units, deployed 3 years after Moscow's annexation of the Ukrainian peninsula Crimea in 2014, are meant to stall an assault and buy time for additional NATO troops to arrive at the frontline. We will discuss Russia's proposals, but it cannot be that Russia dictates to NATO partners their posture, and that is something that we will make very clear in the talks, she added. The West has threatened harsh economic sanctions on Russia should Moscow escalate its military buildup on Ukraine's border. Moscow says it is only responding to threats to its security from Kiev's increasingly close relations with NATO. Speaking alongside Lambrecht on Sunday, Lithuania's defense minister Arvydas Anušauskas accused Russia of trying to drive a wedge into the alliance, and said NATO must not allow Moscow to divide Europe into spheres of influence.
This post received a score of 10,000, with an upvote ratio of 96%. Here are the top comments in response to this article.
Moscow set out a list of demands for the West that includes withdrawing NATO battalions from Poland and Estonia, Latvia and Lithuania, once part of the Soviet Union. Russia is also demanding a legally binding guarantee that NATO will give up any military activity in Eastern Europe and Ukraine and an effective Russian veto on future NATO membership for Ukraine, which the West has already ruled out.
Considering Poland, Estonia, Latvia, and Lithuania are NATO members, doubt that will happen. It would have severe implications for future memberships and even current ones.
It would severely erode the trust into the alliance. Even today, doubts exists in general population if German or French troops would risk their lives for Polish or Estonian citizens. But if you create a rule initiated by Russia to pull troops out of a member state? Oof.
Either risk their lives for Polish citizens or have Russia as a neighbor.
I don't think you can be their neighbor at that point, you'll be just Russia.
They meant from the point of view of Germany. Basically, German lives can be lost for Polish citizens, or German people can be Russian neighbors.
I know, half of the Germany was Soviet puppet state. You think they gonna stop at Poland?
Oh. Okay, sorry, I get what you were saying. My bad. I will go back to my Sunday morning caffeine.
My brain read this as Sunday morning campfire, and immediately I was lucky.
NATO withdrawing from NATO countries would mean the factual death of NATO. This is an absolutely impossible to fulfill demand.
That's gotta be the point. Give unrealistic demands then retaliate cause they're inevitably not met.
Nah, that's stupid. If you say, give me $1 trillion or I'll kill you, everyone will still call you a murderer.
It's quite literally what the Austrian-Hungarian Empire did before invading Serbia and setting into motion WWI.
Russia is a broke little skanky bitch compared to NATO, even without America.
LMAO.
The parties shall not create conditions or situations that pose or could be perceived as a threat to the national security of other parties. With the consent of all the parties, such deployments can take place in exceptional cases to eliminate a threat to security of one or more parties. Article 5. The parties shall not deploy land-based intermediate and short-range missiles in areas allowing them to reach the territory of the other parties. In order to exclude incidents, the Russian Federation and the parties that are member states of the North Atlantic Treaty Organization shall not conduct military exercises or other military activities above the brigade level in a zone of agreed width and configuration on each side of the borderline of the Russian Federation and the states in a military alliance with it, as well as parties that are member states of the North Atlantic Treaty Organization.
This video was automatically created by Reddit to speech. The article and comments in this video were selected from Reddit according to their upvotes. and any paraphrasing was performed by smmry.com, without any human intervention.